What's going on, faithfuls? It's your boy Mike from the Nothing But Niners crew. We're here to bring you guys another fun-filled episode. This one's going to be all about our supporters, all 49er fans, all NFL fans. If you stumble across this channel and you are not a 49er fan and you want to call in and talk smack, bring it on, baby. I'm welcoming it with open arms. But before we get down to the fun stuff, I have to go through the formalities, guys. Make sure you check out the website, www.nothingbutniners.com. That is going to be everything you need to know about us here at Nothing But Niners. It's our website that has articles by a bunch of great writers. It's got our social Snapchat handles. They're Nothing But 9ERS. You'll find our Facebook and our Instagram. That is Nothing But Niners, spelled all the way out, spaces in between each word, okay? You look for us on your podcast platforms. Let me see if I can do this. It's not Snapchat, Google Play, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud. Anything that plays podcasts, we are there, baby. Search for NB9ERS, search for NBN, search for 49ers, Nothing But Niners. We're going to pop up right then and there, okay? So we got a lot of people on already right now. I am not going to try to say everyone's Twitter handles because I don't know them all. It's really Anthony. I don't know. I've been practicing the other two. I know myself, though. I am Mike. My Twitter handle is 49ersMike_NF, and I'm going to pass it to whoever wants to talk next. I guess it's going to be Nick. Nick's got the controls over there. What's going on, baby? How you feeling?
What's going on, Mikey? What's up, Anthony? What's up, Tony? Yes, that is right. I am on Twitter. It is at 49erFaithful365. Excited to bring this show to you on Thursday nights now. This is going to be our third episode, Faithful Fan Interaction Show. Tony, what's going on, man?
What's up, Nick? What's up, Mike? What's up, Ant? I'm Tony, NJ Niner Fan 499 on Twitter. Just looking forward to talk some 49er football tonight. Things are getting close. Sunday we can start talking to players, and I think it's Tuesday it becomes official. We can start signing. What's up, Anthony?
What's going on, guys? The Twitter's Anthony Perry 925 altogether. I need to work on the handle, but how's it going, guys? I'm really excited to do this live show with everyone tonight. We're really looking forward to interacting with all the fans. You know, this is it. This is the last walk before free agency starts, and hell, tampering, it's all going down, and we've got it here for you guys. We're ready to break it down.
The next time we do this show, it should be a lot more excitement in the room, whether it be, or it could be a lot of anger. It depends on how free agency goes, right? Like there could be people furious that we didn't sign somebody, which is probably more than likely what's going to happen. But I won't get to all of that right now. Before we open this up to our supporters and everybody out there, and guys, by the way, the phone line is open. The phone number is 628-888-3443. You guys can start sending in your text messages. Don't start calling yet. We're not answering the calls just yet, okay? We will let you guys know when to start calling. But send in the text messages if you have them. Send in the questions if you have them. All right. Nick is going to pull up the chat. He's going to keep an eye on the chat over there and the YouTube comments in the live section over there. But we have to talk about some of the things that the team made official today. Today was basically the day that the team announced all the people that they were picking up their options and things like that. So I'm just going to read this quick paragraph from 49ers.com. It said the San Francisco 49ers announced on Thursday that they have tendered one-year contracts to restricted free agent Raheem Mostert, an exclusive rights free agent linebacker Elijah Lee, and defensive back Greg Maben. Additionally, the team exercised the 2019 contract options for fullback Kyle Juszczyk, defensive lineman Cassius Marsh, linebacker Dakota Watson, and cornerback Kawan Williams, and declined the contract option for Pierre Garçon. Of all those names in that group, Pierre Garçon is the one that they don't bring back? Really? It's Pierre? Did you guys? So let's talk about this. Let's react to this. Do you guys agree with these moves here? You guys like all the moves that the Niners made here? There's some that I like. There's some I didn't care for, but I can't wait to hear what you guys hear about it, or what you think about it. I should say. My
bad. I agree with them, Mike. We kind of all knew the writing was on the wall for Garçon. Kyle Juszczyk's contract was 2 years guaranteed with 2 1-year team options, which one this year and then one next year. It was a 4-year deal in total. Marsh is a 1-year option left, and with Marsh, his contract, it's only guaranteed for like I think 900,000. Everything after that, we could cut him at any time. So I think what the team kind of did was just bring everybody back as far as him until they see what they land in free agency. Once they make their signings and then they go through their draft process, they're going to take a look at the roster overall and say, okay, do we need him? And at that time, they could release him and still walk away, I think, with like $4 million in cap savings. The restricted free agents, you knew they were going to tender all of them. I'm very happy that they tendered or re-signed Elijah Lee. And the only guy that they're still thinking about, I think, is Malcolm Smith. And I think we spoke about this the other day. If we wait until June 1st, we save more money if we decide to move on from him.
I think either way it's going to be. You're right. I think we do save more money, but either way it's going to be a big hit. That's a major decision the team has to make. The one with Malcolm Smith, Nick and Anthony. What are your guys' thoughts on the move that the team made? You guys agree with all of them so far? I see Anthony.
Man, I don't mind them all, but it's gonna sound kind of weird coming from me. But I'm kind of upset about the Pierre Garçon thing. I think that's the part of me that wanted it to work out more with him, because when he was healthy, he was honestly probably the best run blocking wide receiver in football. We saw how many times he sprung Matt Breida. We saw how many times he sprung the rest of our backs when he was healthy. And, I know it's such a minor aspect of the game, but having your receivers being able to run block is huge, especially for Shanahan. And I don't know. That's kind of upsetting to me on my part, but at the same time, he's already going to hit his mid-30s very soon. He was a decent-sized cap hit. At the end of the day, you have to move on from an aging veteran like that who couldn't even prove himself. Yeah, he had the one good year. He was 8 games healthy with 500 yards, but that was it. And that's not enough to ride on in this team, and especially on a team that needs to get younger and needs to get more athletic. And I'm not saying Garçon isn't athletic, but, man, the health issues are a problem. The inconsistency is a problem. We saw it when he was healthy. He couldn't connect with Garoppolo, and that was only in 3 games. And I can't do that. I can't do that. We need Garoppolo to connect with all of our guys, and it just wasn't there with Garçon, and it's time to move on, point blank. Now that opens up a wide receiver spot, and that's huge, because I guess Garçon, you could say, was, quote, wide receiver 1, and right now there's no WR1 on this team, and we need it. And, whether it's addressed in draft or free agency, it doesn't matter, but with Garçon gone, it leaves a big hole, and I will admit that wide receiver is already a big hole, but with him gone, it really opens up the wide receiver spot. And I'm not going to lie, outside of Pettis and maybe Bourne, there's no wide receiver that's safe on this roster, point blank. There's no wide receiver that's safe, and it's going to be a dogfight. It really is. Of course, we have all of our draft crushes that we want out of wide receivers. It's not really any free agency, but it's going to be a dogfight. And for the rest of the guys, I saw someone who was kind of upset about the Marsh thing. And I want to point out that I think he's being brought back for $5.5 million roughly. It sounds like a lot on the ear, but when you think about it, for a rotational Sam Leo guy that can get you 5 sacks, that's not bad. I'll take it. Is it a little overpriced? Sure, but Marsh goes out there and he fights and competes, and he deserves a spot on the roster, no doubt. And that's about it, really. I like the rest of the signings. The K'Wan Williams one I like especially because he really came into his own last season, and he's a great slot corner that we need. He'll fight with DJ Reed for a spot, but he's still CB1 for slot corner, and that's about it. Garçon is the big one in my opinion, and yeah, crazy moves.
Yeah. So like Tony was saying, I want to touch on the Cassius Marsh thing. Tony, it looks to be $5.1 million is his contract details. And that if we cut him pre-June 1st or post-June 1st, we get all of that back. So we pretty much, it's 0 dead cap. We don't lose anything. Like I said in our little group chat earlier, I think this is basically a move. Like I kind of agree with Tony. This is kind of a move to say, okay, we want to get a free agent edge rusher and we want to get a draft edge rusher. If we can't come down with both of those, we can leave Cassius here, who can be a rotational type player for the amount of money that he's making. Like Anthony said, I'm going to touch on that. We got 5.5 sacks last year. It's not that big of a contract. But the fact that I think if they would have had a bigger cap hit this year, he would have been a cap casualty because we would have just cut him. But I think with us being able to take that contract all the way up to the new year or past the new year, it's in July, I think it is July 14th or 15th. And if we don't land a free agent and an edge guy, and neither of those guys, one of those guys don't work out, you got that depth there. So I don't think the team is really losing anything because it's just say, hey, we're going to pick up this offer, but we can still cut you all the way till July 15th. So depending on what they do in free agency, Pierre Garçon, we knew the writing was on the wall. He's had one touchdown with the 49ers. He didn't really have the luck with health. It goes way down our lineup. Garçon was definitely getting older. He probably won't even get picked up somewhere. I'll be surprised. Maybe go back to like an Indy or something like that, but I doubt if he gets picked up. I agree with Anthony that there is really no spots right now that are guaranteed as the receiving core. The only really thing that I agree with is probably Pettis, and that's just because of how he came along at the end of the year. But other than that, you got the likes of Trent Taylor. You don't know what's going to happen. You got the likes of Marquise Goodwin. You're not sure what's going to happen with him with concussions and health and family issues. Kendrick Bourne, is he going to step up this year? I think he has the athletic ability to be able to step up. I'd like to see him step up more, but I agree with Anthony. There's really not that many guys that are guaranteed a roster on the spot unless we make a big splash for a receiver in a trade. And, you heard Kyle Shanahan go on with Chris Sims on his podcast. The Niners will do whatever they have to do to make better, whether that's trade, free agency, draft. So I don't think that we may be hearing rumors about OBJ or, other things like even the AB sweepstakes. You really don't know until it's time because we don't have that mole or rat in the building anymore to where it's leaking all this evidence or stuff like that. So Cassius Marsh, I think, is just pretty much a paperweight waiting to see what we get in free agency and the draft. And the other guys, I'd like to know what the tenders were for Mostert and Elijah Lee. Like, how much is it?
The Mostert's tender was 1 year, $2.23 million with the right for first refusal if he signed outside.
Now,
Lee, I don't remember what Lee was.
Yeah, because that's still a lot of money for a special teams guy, 2.23. But I like Mostert, so Mike.
I think two of my favorite parts, two of the people coming back was definitely Raheem Mostert was one of the first ones. He finally got a shot as a ball carrier, and he was playing really, really well. I think it was the Raiders game I think his injury was in. I think it was the Raiders game where he had that injury. It was also the same game that Garçon had his only touchdown as a 49er and also from Nick Mullins. But it was really cool to see him and watch Mostert grow and develop as a running back. The explosiveness that he had to put on display and everything. And I was worried about him. I was like, you hate to see a guy giving it his all on special teams the way that he did year in and year out, and then finally get his start, not his start necessarily, but get his run as a running back, and then get injured, and then the team lets him go. So I was happy they brought him back. The injury is a upper body, it's an arm thing, so he should be able to heal and bounce back from that. It's not like it was a leg or lower extremity thing where he's going to lose some speed and things like that. So it's good to see him coming back. Another one that I liked, but I don't know if he's actually going to make the roster, is Dakota Watson. He came back also. His first game back was that Raiders game as well. And in that game, I know that in the first half or in the first 3 quarters, I know that he had a sack and a half. He met Cassis Marsh on Derek Carr at one point. Then he had one by himself that he had just beat Blair around the corner. So it was pretty cool watching him come in there with fresh legs. I'm excited to see if he makes the roster. Between he and Marsh, if they don't make the roster, that means that we did something really, really good in free agency. You know what I mean? And then the last player is, same thing. The last player that I liked also was Kwan Williams. We got to see him come back at the end of the year due from injuries. And when he came back, he looked like the slot position looked completely different. He was physical in the run game, and he was assertive. He was decisive. Like you could see like the quick thinking and just going. He was 100 miles an hour all the way. You could see the toughness in what he brought back to the position. So I really like seeing that one also. I don't know if he's going to be the starter right away, but if not, he's at least really good depth. You guys touched on something else also really quick. You said that there's only one wide receiver really that's safe in Pettis, but I don't know, Nick. I know you look up the contracts, but I know Goodwin got an extension also. So I don't know how hard it's going to be for the team to walk away from Marquise Goodwin. He's someone who's often injured, and we really want to see him do well. We saw that he just almost got to that 1,000-yard mark 2 seasons ago. And this year he was a shell of that. He kind of reverted back to his old Buffalo ways. I don't know how easy it's going to be for the 49ers to walk away from him. If his contract language gives us an easy out, then maybe he's not safe. But overall, I would have to think that he's a safe guy just because of the contract and the salary numbers. So I know you're going to pull that up for us and everything. You've been doing that for us, but I'm just not sure. But Pettis, is safe because of what they have invested in him. I don't even think a guy like Kendrick Bourne is safe, honestly. I don't think Kendrick Bourne is safe. I don't think Taylor is safe. I don't think Richie James is safe. It's really Bourne and maybe Goodwin.
I think it all has to do with what we add to the roster as well during the offseason.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what makes those guys not safe. It's like, we have the current guys here, but if they bring in 3 wide receivers that they plan on making it, then, if Odell Beckham ends up coming in, somebody's got to go. Who's at the bottom of that list? Is it Ricky James? Is it Trent Taylor? You know what I mean? Like it's got probably going to be one of those 2 guys, right? Like, so it's a lot to look at and dissect. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. And that goes across the board. We were talking about with Cassius Marsh. It also works for, Cassius Marsh and Dakota Watson. It's going to depend on the free agent edge rushers we bring in. It's going to depend on who we draft and what position we're moving at, Now, Tony, we were go ahead, Anthony.
I was just going to comment that the big thing about Mostert and Garcon being gone is that when Jet comes back and when Breida is healthy, we already have Jeff Wilson, who's pretty proven too, and Alfred Morris is gone, right? He's not on the contract. He's gone. We got 4 potential running backs, especially if they all make the team. And I want to see how that plays out between the 4th running back spot if we decide to keep Mostert, or if we're just going to carry 5 wide receivers, or how it's going to work. That's something I'm really interested to see too.
Even though he's one of my favorites in that group, I think Wilson's going to be gone.
Yeah, me too. I like Jeff Wilson a lot because he kind of brings that heavy workload mentality when he's carrying the ball. Like, it sounds weird, but he really reminds me of such a more athletic and more physical Alfred Morris when Alfred Morris was in his prime. And I think Jeff Wilson could bring that out in Shanahan's offense. But the fumble issues worry me. He's already had minor health concerns. He had that tweaked ankle twice. And it's just the running back spot is weird on this team because it's loaded. It's weirdly loaded. Jet's going to come back. Breida's going to come back. And we don't know what's going to go on with Mostert. And that's already 3 spots. So Wilson might be the 4th one out, but we'll see. I just wanted to point that out, that the running back spot versus the last wide receiver spot is going to be pretty crazy to see once the roster pans out.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike, I totally agree with you on the Kwan Williams stuff. I'm a big supporter of Kwan Williams. Loves Kwan Williams. I thought he played that that slot position really, really well. And then like when he came back from injury, like you said, he was just on fire. I mean, instead of going for the ball, you know, like on that one pass, there was a pass to the flats, and instead of like going for the ball, you know, like I think it was an interception. He's like, okay, I know I got this guy coming here, so I'm going to take the hit, and then, you know, blah blah blah, whatever. But he plays the ball well. But getting back on Marquise Goodwin's contract. He's not as safe as you think he is. So if we cut Marquise Goodwin pre-June 1st, it's only a 1.8, well, let's just say 1.9 million dead money and a cap savings of $2,093,750. If you cut him post-June 1st, it's only $625K dead money and $3,343,750 cap savings post June 1st. So he's probably not as safe as we think with that contract the way that it's written out, because it's only 1.9 million of dead money, and that's really nothing right now. With a cap saving of almost 2.1 million of savings pre-June 1st. Now, I highly doubt that he gets cut pre-June 1st because it's only going to cost you $625K if you cut him post-June 1st if something happens. So it's only going to cost you $625, and you're saving almost $3.5 million in cap savings cutting him post-June 1st. So,
All right. Well, you guys ready to get to it? Is there anything else you guys want to touch on before we open this up to everybody? I'm seeing some questions in the chat already. I see one directed right to us from Robert Gibby. It says, would it be surprising if the Niners drafted 2 wide receivers?
Would it be surprising?
Yeah.
2
of them. Now, we only have 6 picks. We got 6 picks.
It would surprise me if they drafted 2 receivers because I think they're going to go after maybe somebody in free agency and a draft guy. So on my shock, would I be shocked? On a scale of 1 to 10, Niner. Would I be shocked? Probably. I'd be probably closer to 10 shocked if we drafted 2 wide receivers.
Mike, are you counting like undrafted free agents?
The question was if we drafted 2.
Yeah, but if you're an undrafted free agent, you're not drafted technically, but you're coming from the rookie pool.
I wouldn't count that because it's you know, no holds bar. Then we're going to sign some of those guys no matter what, just to get to 90. You know what I mean? So yeah. I wouldn't count that. But I think it's an intriguing question to draft 2 of them when we only have 6 picks.
So I could see the possibility of them going wide receiver at round 2, depending on what we do, like, you know, with the whole rumors with Odell Beckham or Antonio Brown, whatever. But let's say like we take Bosa at 2, we don't do the Odell trade, and you take like a Debo Sanders and or a AJ Brown at that 2 spot, and then I could see them taking another guy like the kid Doss from California or Cal Poly, like in round 6, just to secure his services because he's projected to go like 7, and we don't have a 7th rounder. So I could see maybe grabbing him in the 6th just to guarantee we get our hands on him, because you're taking a chance of, if you don't draft him there, you have to wait to undrafted free agency. So there is a possibility. It all depends on how they do in free agency and how they do in the draft earlier. I mean, they can move up and down if they want in the 2nd. They can move up and down the 3rd and gain picks if they move back. So, I mean, is it definite? No. But there is a possibility they could take a second guy.
You got it, Anthony. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think they do take 2. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say I'd be pretty confident that they will take 2. And like we said previously, there's no wide receiver spot on that roster that's safe at all. And as far as I know, with all the names we have on the team, there's not even that many wide receivers on the roster to begin with. And even if they do take someone in the second round out of those 5 guys like A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, DK Metcalf if he slides, you never know. J.J. Arcega, those guys. I can see those guys being mid-round picks. But like Tony said, I could also see Keelan Doss out of UC Davis be a sleeper pick in the 6th, 7th round too, or Paris Campbell. You never know. Jalen Hurd, those kind of guys, David Sills, they could be late-round picks. And those are big-bodied guys too that I've been screaming that we need. I'm not going to lie. I think we need the big-bodied wide receiver guys. But overall, the wide receiver position on this team is really thin. Like I said, there's not that many guys on the roster. And even if we do take one, I will say that we probably will take quite a few UDFAs too, just to fill up the camp bodies, But overall, if we draft 2, no matter who they are, they're not camp bodies at all. I think we do need 2 wide receivers to draft. I know the defensive side of the ball needs to be addressed heavily, but I think a sleeper position on offense is definitely wide receiver, and I wouldn't be mad if they took 2 in any way.
I think you guys are all presenting really good cases. I think I would be surprised if they drafted 2. I do think that we add 2 between free agency and the draft. Like, I think we'll pick up somebody in free agency. Might not be a big name. It might be someone that Shanahan wants to take a flyer on to see, just kick the tires on them. But I think the other person is going to be someone that we definitely draft, like Tony was saying, in the 2nd round. If we don't go in the 2nd round, then absolutely in the 3rd. But I think that we're definitely going to draft 1. I would be surprised if we – I don't know, man. I don't know. If you ask me this question next week, I have a better answer for you. You know what I mean? But it's so hard to say. We need to add 2 wide receivers that they want, regardless of if they work out or not. We need to add 2 wide receivers that they want, not 2 wide receivers that they're settling for. So, whether it's an OBJ, whether it's Kelvin Harmon in the 2nd round, something like that. We need to add 2 guys that they want. But then we also need to pick up some extra bodies just to get the camp roster filled out. And maybe we find another guy like Kendrick Bourne who they end up wanting to keep. You know what I mean? Someone that they want to keep around. So I do think that they need to add 2 wants and then another one. I just think that drafting 2 is going to be risky when you only have 6 picks. Now, if we trade back, okay, now we're talking. If we trade back, now it's a different ballgame.
Yeah, I agree. I think if we trade back and we get more picks, I think it could be a possibility. I agree with Tony as well. I think that definitely, I think that would be our 2nd round pick. It's still high, so you can still get a decent receiver there. Obviously not a Metcalf. Maybe an A.J. Brown. Maybe. If not, you're looking at somebody like Deebo Samuels or, maybe even
Riley Ridley.
Yeah, Riley Ridley.
Devin Funch's name is being thrown in here in the group. Devin Funchess, big guy. Tony, I know Tony likes that.
I just don't see it happening, man. Just don't see it happening. He's a big guy, but you heard Kyle Shanahan the other day. He's like, it doesn't, and I'm not saying this counts out big guys, but if it's going to be a big guy, he wants a big guy that's able to run routes, able to catch, has some decent speed, and able to separate. So it's not just, this guy's a big guy. He's going to be contested for 50-50 balls. This is what we need. He wants a guy that is in his receiver, that all-around type receiver, whether it doesn't matter if they're small, they separate, they're big, they don't separate. It's just, I don't know, man. I just don't see the only really big receiver that Kyle Shanahan has ever had is Julio, right? Who else did he have?
Well, he had Andre Johnson.
He had Andre Johnson. He had Josh.
But he wasn't a coordinator there, right?
He had Josh Gordon.
Oh, in Cleveland, yeah, Josh Gordon. I forgot about him.
They had a big guy in Washington too, or was it the tight end?
It was Garcon he had in Washington.
Yeah, Garcon and Jackson. Right. Didn't he have Jackson there too?
It might have been.
Yeah, they were both 1,000-yard receivers.
Yeah.
But like Nick's point, Shanahan's never really had big receivers, and I love the big receivers. I think we need one. But looking at like what Mike said, what they want versus what we think they need, they're gonna go in the direction of what they want, and it might not even be a big-bodied wide receiver. You never know.
That's crazy. Mike, there was another question in here from Delta. He said, who will be the first player we target in free agency?
Earl Thomas. I definitely think Earl Thomas. John Lynch wants a safety.
Yeah, and you saw him you saw them come out and say that they want to get a safety, but I'm not sure if it's gonna. Man,
That's a really good question. That's like normally when free agency is coming, I'm like, all right, this is who we got to get. We got to get. I don't have that guy right now. I'm gonna say the first person that we get is Preston Smith. I don't know. I don't want to get my hopes up for someone like Justin Houston or, you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to prepare for smart signings and not prepare for like the big signings. The big signings are the ones that we always seem to avoid. Preston Smith would make a guy like Cassis Marsh or Dakota Watson expendable at that point. So
let me ask you this, Mike. What do you consider you saying a big signing? What do you consider a safe signing?
I think safe is someone who has all of the traits that they may not have put it together yet. So a safe signing like Preston Smith, you know what I mean? He's never led the league in sacks, you know what I mean, or tackles for loss or quarterback pressures. But when you look at him, you see it. You see what makes him good and what makes him valuable.
Yeah, would those safe picks be a day one signing?
It depends. I mean, 2 years ago, our day one signings were Pierre Garçon and Logan Paulson. I mean, they weren't the biggest names. You know what I mean? Like the team went after like players that they wanted. Like they had their eyes set on these guys, and that's what they went after.
I think you're going to see it this year.
Huh?
I think you're going to see that this year. I really do.
Who are some of the bigger name free agents?
C.J. Mosley.
Mosley, Trey Flowers,
Jordan Hicks.
Yeah.
Free safety. Think of
Thomas, Collins,
Eric Weddle.
We better not. No. Don't put that shit in the air. I don't want people thinking about that. No, absolutely not. No way. Eric Weddle? No.
Yep.
Still a possibility, man.
It better not be.
He's still a high possibility.
Nah, his knee just retired. He's not playing.
That's your opinion.
Oh my God. I would go on strike. I'm not watching the first 3 weeks of football if we sign.
Landon Collins is probably out because he's more of a box safety compared to Weddle and Thomas, where they're the single high type safeties. So you have to put Weddle's name in there as one of the top guys that are a single high safety.
We're not a year away to make a play for a guy like Weddle. He's 34 years old. What the hell are we doing with a 34-year-old in free agency? I wouldn't even. I can't say I wouldn't even, but like Cameron Wake is probably the oldest person, but he would be situational. Like I'm not getting a safety, a free safety at 34 years old.
Yeah, but
declining.
Why else do you bring a safety in? You're not getting rid of Colbert.
Yeah, because he's under contract. But Weddle might have one more year in him. Maybe he might not even finish the year.
And that 1 year may boost Colbert's play.
I will say I gotta agree with Mike. As much as I like Weddle, Weddle's the type of guy you would add if you were like the Chiefs or the Patriots or the Rams. You know, those kind of contending teams. I mean, last year I was saying, and we were saying that this Niners team is a borderline playoff team. Now this year, even before free agency, it's tough to say if they're a borderline playoff team. I would like the addition of Weddle because of the leadership and that veteran mentality he brings. But I don't think this team's ready for that yet, especially in the safety. I'd be more geared to bring in a guy like Thomas if that's the case, because his past or his prime isn't behind him yet. He's still the best safety in football. Weddle, like I said, Weddle will be a great ad, but you got to bring in that energy, that athleticism that Thomas would have over Weddle or Collins even. You never know. But I see your point, Nick, definitely. Weddle would be a nice ad. He'd be a nice ad for the DBs in general, but in my opinion, I don't think he should be a priority ad at all. He's at the bottom of my list of ads.
This will be a good topic to open up the phone lines for. I think have people call in and say who they want the Niners to go after in free agency. If they don't want to call in, then just write it in the live chat here. But I think that will be a great topic for people to let us know. You know, if you want to call in, guys, let us know. It's 628-888-3443. I think we got text messages coming in also. Let me see.
Yeah, I got a couple of them.
Oh, you have it open over there? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I put the phone number in the chat. So, let's see. Text now was
the first one I see is about Pinion.
Yeah, but there is another one in here from him that we're talking about. Do any of you believe that Colbert gets his mojo back this season and wins back his free safety spot?
You want me to answer first?
Well, I'm whoever.
I think the answer is yes. This is why I haven't – you guys have not heard me saying, oh, go get Earl Thomas, go get Earl Thomas. I really believe that the best thing that happened to some of these young guys, like Jimmy Garoppolo, like Akello Witherspoon, like Adrian Colbert, is that they had a chance to step back and see, you know what? I don't have it all figured out. I need to see and study more and get back mentally, not so much physically. I think that he's going to have a bounce-back season.
You want to take that call?
You want me to get it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Where's my speakerphone? All right, what's going on? You're on with Stuff for the Niners.
Hey, man, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm all right.
Can you guys hear that? All right.
I'm watching the show here, and I wanted to chime in on the pick up in the free agency.
Oh, wait. If you have the show on in the background, you got to mute it. We're getting feedback. There you go. All right, much better.
Well, first off, man, I think at the free safety position, I think a guy like Amos from Chicago Bears would be a better pickup. Be a little cheaper than picking up Earl Thomas or either the guy Trey Boston out of Arizona.
Yeah, I like Amos too. I'm not gonna lie. That would be a really good pickup as a safety coming from Chicago. And you said Trey Boston also?
Yes, Trey Boston.
All right, I like that. And then what free agent, if you could pick one that the Niners could go after, like if you could guarantee that we get one guy, who would it be for you?
I would probably say C.J. Mosley, linebacker from Baltimore.
I like that. All right, what's your name?
My name is Sean.
Sean. All right, man. Thanks for the call. We appreciate it. All right.
No problem, man.
All right. My man Sean calling it. Oh, I just ignored somebody's call. I thought I was hanging up. Are they on your phone, Nick? It was a 512 number? No?
Sean made good valid points as far as two players for the free safety spot. Trey Boston played with, I think, the Chargers, and he had about five picks in his time in his last season there, showing the potential as a center fielder and a ball hawk. Amos, I don't think Amos is going to make it away from Chicago because he was a vital piece to that secondary, especially when I think it was Jackson that went down with injury. He just elevated his play. But as far as C.J. Mosley, I think C.J. Mosley would be a great addition. But if it turns into a bidding war, I'm out because this guy, that number's going to climb, and it's going to climb quick. And you saw Cleveland just cut Jamie Collins today with a $10 million cap slot. This guy could go over that.
Yeah, definitely agree. I think Mike has another caller on the line, so I'm going to get to him real quick.
All right, guys, this is David from Texas. David, what's going on, baby?
Hey, what's up, man? This is Rolls Royce, man, all the way from Austin, Texas, man. All right, here's my thing with the draft and the free agency. Your number one priority should be Fowler and go get Collins. It'll make the draft easier for you come that second pick overall. You get your thrasher right there with Fowler, and you get your strong safety with Collins. That would be the perfect setup in free agency. Those two are ballers.
What is it about Fowler that you like?
Dude, Fowler, when he played on Jacksonville, he tore it up. When he got to the Rams, he was average at best because he didn't really fit in that defense too much. But people forget how good he was in Jacksonville. He's mobile. He can move around. He's next to Buckner, he would be sick. He didn't have anybody like Buckner in Jacksonville, not even on the same level. I think he would be huge in the defense in San Francisco.
Interesting. And you said Collins. You really like Collins, huh?
Yeah, I would take Collins as a strong safety. We can move Tart around. We can move Colbert around. We could do a lot of different things. But Collins, a lot of people say he doesn't fit, but I'm telling you, he would fit with the Niners. We would make it work. That dude is a baller. He's a hitter. I mean, I'm telling you, he would change the back of that defense.
I love it. I like it. I've been trying to figure out how to make Collins work. He is definitely somebody I'm looking forward to. So let's say you get your way, okay? So you gave us your free agents there. Who are you targeting at number 2?
Well, you got to have somebody else on the other end. So if at number 2, even though I'm not a huge Bosa fan, I would take Bosa if we get Fowler Jr. I would take Bosa. But if somebody comes at us with a package to move down, let's say throws in another number 2, maybe another number 2 in 2020, I would trade back and then try to go after the wide receiver from not Arizona State. And y'all were just talking about him.
Mississippi State.
The big kid.
Metcalf?
Who?
Who are you talking about?
Yes, I get Metcalf.
Okay.
Yes, I would get Metcalf and move down.
It only takes one edge guy for you to feel comfortable enough to trade down in the draft, huh?
Well, one edge guy, but you're also getting multiple picks, and you're still getting a playmaker. So you're winning on both ends. Let's be honest.
Okay.
I would take it, man.
All right. Hey, Rolls Royce, I appreciate the call in, man. We're going to talk about it, all right?
All right, brother. Thanks, guys.
No problem. So, guys, I've been saying all along that I think we could trade back, but it would take 2 guys for me to feel comfortable doing that. Now, you guys, you break it down for me. You guys heard the call. Reflect on it, fellas. What's up?
All right. Go ahead, Ant.
Thank you. Let me ask you guys real quick. Would you pay a decent amount or overpay for someone like Dante Fowler? Just a yes or no.
Well, I would never overpay for anybody.
Okay, so that's a no. What about you, Nick? Yes or no for Fowler?
I don't know. He made some good points about Fowler. I'm not a real huge fan of Fowler because since he's left Jacksonville, he hasn't really done much. But that's not to say that he can't come in here in San Francisco and do something. Is it going to cost you a little bit of money? Yes. But all free agents are going to cost you a little bit of money. You're going to overpay any free agent you get. Nobody's going to come in here and say, oh, I'll take $2 million a year. No, you're going to overpay for whoever you get in free agency. Excuse me. If you really feel that he can fit this system and play this system, I mean,
is he a priority to you though? Out of all the edge guys,
no, he's not a priority to me. I mean, more of a guy like, and I'm not even big on Preston Smith, but probably a Preston Smith, a Trey Flowers, even like
Justin Houston.
Justin Houston, yeah, like those guys would be more of a priority to me than Fowler would, because Fowler, how old is Fowler? 28, 29?
Oh, way
Younger.
Way
He's like
younger.
25 years old, I think.
That's it?
Yeah.
I thought he was high 20s, but that's my fault. I mean, he is a baller. I can't disagree with the David Royce who just called. I can't disagree that he's not a baller. I just think there's more out there that we could get on his part. So I'm gonna have to say he's not a main priority for me. Now, if the Niners land him, I wouldn't be upset either.
What about you, Tony?
I'm going to say he's a – all right. Personally, I don't feel he's a main priority. But I'm going to say he is because I heard Matt Mayoko bring this guy's name up like 3 times in an interview. 1 in an article, 2 on a podcast. And if you remember when the trade deadline came and he got sent to Los Angeles from Jacksonville, Kyle was talking about him, saying that they were interested in him, but they didn't want to give up, knowing that this was his last year on his contract, give up a draft pick. With that being said, converting to the wide 9, his skill set could flourish in this. My personal opinion, though, he was good in Jacksonville, but then he tended to disappear in Jacksonville. Then he came to the Los Angeles Rams, and his play kind of was inconsistent. He would have a good game, bad game, good game, bad game. But he was responsible for the final interception in the championship game to go to the Super Bowl versus Drew Brees. But then I turn around and ask myself, is he was playing along Donald and Sue. So how much is it his talent in play, or is it because who he was playing with on the same defensive line? It's not a knock against him, but when you're playing with next to those 2 guys, you're not going to be facing double coverage.
Exactly.
I mean, double teams.
It should be a knock. If you can't get pressure with Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh on the same defensive line as you, how is that not a knock?
He was getting pressure, especially in the playoffs, Mike.
In the postseason, he was.
Yes.
And he's been in the league for 5 years now.
Yeah.
You guys have just guess how many sacks he has in 5 years.
Not more than 10.
He's got 16.
Oh.
In 5 seasons, 16 sacks.
He was out for, I think, 1 season with an injury, though.
Major injury. Major leg injury.
He had an ACL or something.
He's 24 years old. He's a young pup. He won't be 25 until August. He's a very young guy. I mean, he's still got some potential. And I like what you guys were saying, you and David Royce were saying about the scheme is a little different now. We're getting him back to a scheme that better suits his needs and skill set. So.
Well, yeah, because more in the wide 9, you're going to have more single. It's man-to-man more in that wide 9. It's going to be even hard to double DeForest Buckner or whoever's on the other side either way. So, I mean, I totally forgot about the wide 9. That definitely will help him.
Yeah, I want to bring up the point, too, that if we sign Dante Fowler, it's going to be – I know Nick said it's going to be for a lot of money because almost all free agents are overpaid. But Fowler is already gearing to be very overpaid, and he hasn't lived up to that potential at all. No matter his situation and no matter what he's had going with him, this will be his 3rd scheme if he doesn't re-sign with an old team. 3rd scheme coming off a major injury. He might feel the need. I'm not going to lie. We obviously need edge, but I don't want to overpay for someone who isn't proven. If we overpay for this guy, it's going to be more into his potential rather than what he can actually do. And he was pretty well performing next to Sue and Donald, but if he came to San Francisco, he's not going to have a Sue and Donald. He's going to have a Buckner and Marsh until we hit the draft. And I'm just saying that in the time being. But it's one of those signings where it's like, if we do overpay him and he comes and maybe we don't address edge right away in the draft, it's going to look like a terrible signing. And I would honestly rather take someone like Justin Houston or Trey Flowers, guys who are a little more proven, than Dante Fowler. And I love the potential that he shows. I love what he has to offer. But like Tony said, he disappeared in Jacksonville. Hell, he even disappeared in LA too. The only highlights he got were the ones that he made an impact on. But he never really made an impact on any other parts of the game other than the end, obviously when it mattered. But I want to see more consistency from a guy like Fowler. Former first-round pick, highly touted. Then he goes down with a major injury, and now he's been bouncing between teams. It's a true risky signing for me, honestly. I would like him, but he's nowhere near a guy that I would overpay for in any way.
Okay. All right. So, what would it take for you guys to not draft edge at number 2 in free agency?
You would have to land 2 free agents.
What positions?
2 defensive ends.
You have to get 2 ends in order to move on from drafting edge with that top pick.
Because you got to realize something, Mike. Right now, this team has 0 defensive ends. Starting caliber defensive ends. We have none. And with the wide 9 being implemented, you need speed guys, okay, who their main game is speed, but also they have alternate moves. Like we spoke about this when we just found out that Koseric was going to be implementing the wide 9, how players who were successful in this system, they were a pure speed edge rusher, and then they would double back with a spin move, a bull rush, something that you would set up a tackle thinking that, oh my God, this guy's going to keep trying to run around the corner. Now the tackle gets, tries to jump out and his kick slide faster, and then you beat him on an inside move. So I definitely think 2 new defensive ends are needed. Now, if we don't go edge at pick 2, my personal opinion, I would want a very like a Justin Houston, a Fowler type guy on one side, and then on the other side, I would like a Bosa and maybe a Preston Smith type edge on the other side. Yeah, because we have zero edge guys right now. And in order to bypass a guy at 2, you would have to invest in probably 1 tier 1, if not 2 tier 1 guys.
Okay. All right. So I'm looking through the text now stuff just to see what else is here. I know that we read one question from one person, but he had a couple of other ones in here also. Where'd it go? He said, all right, so we'll stick with the Niners one first. He says, asking me Niners. Since Pinion has apparently told friends he doesn't expect to be back with the 49ers, who do you see as the possible upgrade at the punter spot for the Niners?
Does anybody have a punter free agent list?
Matt Barr, Ryan Allen, Jeff Locke, if we bring him back. Here we go. Ryan Allen, Jordan Berry, Pat O'Donnell, Donnie Jones, Matt Barr, and obviously Pinion. Those are the best free agent punters available. The only guy I would want to even bring in is Ryan Allen, just because he has experience on Patriots. Otherwise, we might just take a UDFA as a punter. It's a really thin punter list. It's really thin.
I could see them bringing back Jeff Locke.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't have an idea on punters, man. I'll be honest, I don't care much. Get somebody in here that's not going to shank them all the time. You know what I mean? Don't give me the shank a game. Like, just give me some decent kicks. No one to kick it high versus no one to drive it. You know what I mean? Nick, what are your thoughts on the punter position?
I'm probably the only one, but I actually like Bradley Pinion for 2 reasons. One, everybody counted him out because of his average yards per punt, right? Which was average in the league. But you also have to understand that the Niners offense moves the ball, and then when they get to the 30, they stall because of the way that Kyle Shanahan's offense is meant to spread people out, do things like that. So Bradley Pinion's average is more average than you think. It's just the Niners had a better offense. The last 2 years have had a better offense and a really shitty red zone offense. So therefore, it put more into the hands of Robbie Gould compared to what Bradley Pinion was asked to do here. I like the fact that Bradley Pinion kicks off. I like the fact that we just franchise tagged Robbie Gould, who Bradley Pinion has been holding for the last 2 years. And now we're going to – I understand that people can just step in, but there is a chemistry there. You notice that those guys were always hanging out, always doing things together. I think it messes up the juju just a little bit. I think a lot of people are a lot harder on Bradley Pinion than they should be. He averaged 43.8 yards per punt. That's not bad. A lot of people will say, oh, well, when it was time to make a good kick, he would shank or he would do this or he would do that. But it was very seldomly that he did that, in my eyes. You want from your punter consistency. I understand that. You want from your punter the consistency to be able to hold the football. For your kicker, you want consistency in average yards of punt. You want consistency. And most punters don't even kick off, which I love that we have a punter that kicks off because it just saves our kicker's leg for that most important kick that it could come down to. So overall, I hope that we would bring Bradley Pinion back for that fact is due to – I understand that people say that he may be gone or, it's just rumor. But I just don't think that Bradley Pinion was as bad as people think or say he was. Like I said, I think it was 43 or 40. Yeah, I think it was like 40, anywhere from 42 to 44 yards average punting, which is half decent in the league. And you can't hold a lot of that against him too, because a lot of times when he would punt from, the 40, he would only get 20 yards net punt or 30 yards net punt because that's where he could only punt to. So you got to take into consideration how the offense actually is, where the punter's always punting from, and the other duties that he did. So I would hope that we bring him back for that fact, especially because Mike is so worried about Robbie Gould not kicking well because he got franchise tagged this year. I think Robbie Gould is Bradley Pinion is a big factor to helping Robbie Gould. So. Anthony, you already talked. Tony, you already talked.
I want to bring up quick what you said. That's a good point. That Pinion's gone now that Gould doesn't have that chemistry with his holder, and we've heard. And I've seen so many different times where the kicker talks about how important the holder is and how important that chemistry is. Make or break field goals are honestly, in my opinion, determined by the chemistry the kicker has with the holder. You got to be able to trust that guy. You got to be able to go to that guy. And if Robbie Gould isn't happy with his franchise tag, I don't think he's going to be any happier with the Pinion loss. So is that me saying Gould is going to be ineffective? No, I think Gould will be top 5 kicker again. But I think, and I hope it sounds stupid, but the last thing you want is any frustration from him, especially when it matters most, because you never know how that could turn out. And like I said, we're already hearing that Gould is frustrated with the situation he's in now from people. Now Pinion's gone. He loses his holder. You got to hope that the guy they bring in can mesh with Gould well, because if not, you never know. It could turn out bad, even if it's just a kicker.
But don't forget that they changed long snappers mid-season, and they went on without missing a beat. So
But
you're making a move now, going into the OTAs and stuff like that. They should be They should be on the same page, 100% by the time the first preseason game comes. That is plenty of time to get a rhythm between the center, the holder, and the kicker.
Getting some aggressive text messages over here on the text line. I think as far as the punter goes, like, you guys know I was a fan of Pinion. I also wanted him to get a shot at being a field goal kicker as well, so we can combine the positions. But that's not going to happen, it looks like. So we're going to have to move on. And whoever they get, I just hope that this guy is good. Something that Nick was talking about was that his average wasn't bad. A lot of people were charting his kicks in the air and saying, oh, well, it's not that great. It's not that great. But he also had one of the lowest return yards per punt also. So if you have a guy who kicks the ball 60 yards every time, right? But every time he does that, he's getting 20 yards return. He's netting 40. Where you have Bradley Pinion, he'll punt it 50 yards, and there's an average of only 3 yards returning because he's angling it. Then he's netting 47 yards. So there's different ways to look at how good your punter is, and that's how Bradley Pinion was good. I like the kid a lot, but it's not my team, so we'll see what happens. I want to read these text messages we just got here on What's Now. These were they said, but who will they get to replace Pinion? We're not sure. Some people think Jeff Locke. They might just grab another young guy. They might just bring someone in to work out and end up liking him and going with that guy. I don't think that they're going to put a high value on punters. Pinion was a rookie when he came in here. I wouldn't be surprised to see another young rookie that we've never heard of come in and get the spot also. He's got some more questions here, but I'm going to get back to that. This is where'd it go? Hold on. Oh, where'd it go? Okay, here we go. This is from 786. That's the area code. It says this is John from Miami. We need a new defensive scheme. I don't care what players we get in free agency. That defense is made to give up big plays. That's what I'm concerned about. That's the first comment. Second comment is we need Trent Brown back. Joe will be 36 soon. I don't want to hear about scheme fits. Come on, guys. Let's interact with the supporters.
All right. So with the first statement about a new Joe, his name is Joe, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Joe, what's your first question or comment about the defensive scheme? I don't think you're going to see 100% of the cover 3 Seattle over defense. I think you're going to see dribs and drabs of different schemes. I think you're going to see a cover 2 with Joe Woods now as the passing game coordinator for the defense. I think you're going to see some man coverage, and I think you will still see some cover 3 principles. But everything clearly, if you're running the cover 3 principles and you're saying you're implementing a wide 9, you're truly not running the Seattle cover 3. So I think you're going to have a different look to the defense in general. The base principles might be the same, but as far as alignments and back-end coverage schemes, it's going to change a little bit. I kind of like it because he's going away. Saleh is willing to go away from the strict Seattle cover 3, and he's willing to open it up to give different looks on different scenarios, different down and distances, different matchups, and in different games. One week we can come out and play straight cover 2. The next week we'll come out and go back to the cover 3. So you're going to keep these coordinators on edge, not knowing what our base defense really is and what they're going to see. Now, as far as Trent Brown, I'm sorry, you're not going to see him here because his what he's looking for is astronomical. He just won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady, and he's an unrestricted free agent, not tagged, and he's going to cash in big time this offseason. I could see someone like the Houston Texans dumping a lot of money on him, possibly the New York Jets. That's all I have as far as that. Those 2 comments and questions.
No one else wants to comment on the defensive scheme or anything like that? Tony, that was a very nice diplomatic answer that you gave him. But I got to say, man, the scheme was known for giving up the small plays and specifically not giving up the big plays. That's how Seattle's scheme originally worked. You can dink and dunk on them, but that's it. You're not going to beat us over the top. You're going to have to earn everything. It was designed to keep everything in front of them. And once the ball is in the air, you swarm to the ball. You swarm to no matter where it was. So to say that it's designed to give up the big plays is literally the opposite of what was designed to do. But Tony was right that we are going to see different schemes and things like that implemented. So it is gonna make a difference. And that's something that we should all be excited about. We have no idea what this team is going to look like. Think about this, man. So you have Robert Saleh as a defensive coordinator. And by the way, he's also made plenty of changes throughout his 2 seasons, like trying to adjust and adapt to the personnel that he has. So then he starts to delegate his work, right? So you got Robert Saleh as the head, and then he hires Joe Woods. okay? And they start immediately talking about changing the type of coverage that we're going to run. Then they hire Kosurik, and they immediately change the defensive lines formation, the front that we're going to be running.
And style.
Right. Robert Saleh is not a mule. He's not stubborn, whereas this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to hire guys to do what I'm doing. He is looking at his roster and doing what he thinks is best for the talent that he has. And if we can do X, Y, and Z, or if we can do X and Y, and Z is the one thing that we're missing, he's going to do his best to go out and get that player that can give what we're missing in that Z and be a complete defense. And that's what I really, really like about him. I don't think he gets enough credit or praise for being someone who is willing to adapt and not be so bullheaded and just stay stuck in his ways. Nick and Anthony, you guys are kind of quiet over there, especially you, Nick. What are your thoughts, man? What are you doing over there?
I'm just following along in the chat right now. No, I mean, Trent Brown is gone. Obviously, he's not coming back. That's a Niner favor, is always bring back a Niner. Yes, I understand Joe Staley's 36 years old and he's got one year left on his contract. I wouldn't even be surprised if we give him another 2 years. I think he can play another 2 years. As of right now, I mean, barring injury. That's about that. The other fact is Robert Saleh, like you said, Robert Saleh did start making changes and adjustments throughout the year. But you got to also remember with this defense, like you said, they're going to dink and dunk on you. And pretty much this defense is every man knows their job and they have to do their job correctly. You also have to remember that I don't know how many starters we were down on the defensive side at one point. So you have a new guy coming in as a rookie or an undrafted guy or a late draft pick guy trying to figure out and have 1 week of game planning, sometimes not even a week, to be able to do his job. Now, they don't get as many snaps as a starter does. So if somebody gets injured in a game and that guy goes down, they have to know how to do their position, the communication, everything comes into key. It's not just, oh, that player didn't do it. You saw it with this defense. You saw a lot of blown coverages or missed tackles or missed coverages. You've seen players look at each other and wave their hands at each other like, wait, you were supposed to do this. But they're all young guys, and they're all just learning and stepping in. I don't think it's scheme. And with the scheme change with the wide nine up front, I think is going to make a huge difference. But the main factor that we've been missing this entire time, and we all know it, is edge rush. We are missing an edge rusher because if you look at the likes of Culliver and Brown and, those teams were, 2012, 2011 through 2013, those type of secondaries, they weren't that good. The secondary was not good. It was just we had a lot of pressure up front from our front seven. Our front seven was one of the better in the leagues at that time, which made our secondary look even more atrocious, or even more like better. Not atrocious because I was going to say it, but made them look even better. But they weren't that good with the likes of Terrell Brown and even Whitner and Culliver. But on the outsides, they were horrible. They were horrible. You give them guys, you give any DB in this league more than 2.5, 3 seconds for the quarter. You give a quarterback any more than 2.5, 3.5 to 3.5 seconds, they're going to eat you up one way or another. That's just the way that football goes. So to blame it on scheme, I wouldn't blame it on scheme. There were some adjustments made. I think it was just lack of knowledge and lack of being able to make plays and know what they were supposed to be doing at the time because they were young. And that's why we need veterans in here. I think that's why is one of the main reasons we need a veteran safety, somebody who can take command of the defense and the secondary and run with it.
I thought that was Richard Sherman's job.
I mean, Richard Sherman's supposed to be a leader, but he's not. The safety is really the defensive leader in the secondary. So, I mean, that's who's really supposed to be the leader in the secondary, and your linebacker is for up front. So, those two guys in the middle are supposed to be the leaders. But Having Richard Sherman here definitely still helped some of our young guys. Maybe you don't get the play that you got out of Mabin and those guys that you saw come along and play well after a few times that they actually got out there to play more than hey, go in because this guy got injured. If our corners got a week or so of practice in and learning, they weren't as bad as they would have been or were before that. So
I'll just comment real quick. Trent Brown is a big no for me. That's just pass. That's a hard pass, bottom line. With all due respect, but just no. And secondly, real quick, Nick, you better not be roasting Chris Culliver and Parrish Cox like that. Those are the boys.
Yo, they're horrible.
Back then, don't gas them like that.
They're horrible.
But no, I want to bring up the point that with Woods being hired and Kosierek being hired, this isn't your traditional Seattle cover 3 scheme anymore. Like Tony said, we're going to do wide 9 now, and I think we're going to see a lot of different formations outside of wide 9. We'll see 4-3 under, we'll see 4-3 over. We might even see some 3-4 concepts. You never know. We'll see a lot of cover 2, I bet. Everything changes with these new hires at coaching, and it's like Saleh, I believe, doesn't have a lot on his plate, although he's on the hot seat to show some sort of improvement. But with the hiring of Woods and Kosierek, it's gonna show when that time comes, when the defense gets to be on the field and we actually get to see him play. We'll see what kind of concepts are being implemented, but overall, I think Saleh hopefully isn't getting saved by Kosierek and Woods. Hopefully they don't do as much work as Saleh needs to do to really show that sort of improvement. But overall, I think this game shouldn't change. This is the 3rd year of this regime. There's no point in changing a scheme that's already being implemented and that's still being worked on. We need to really see what this defense looks like when it's healthy and when we get the proper additions and proper draft picks in on the field. Is it time for a scheme change? No, not yet. But if this 3rd year really doesn't improve much, even with the new coaching and change, I think there will be some sort of change, no doubt. There should be.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Let me see here. Do we have any comments on here now? All right. Let me get back to the text messages then, because there are more questions. It's the first caller, Sean, again. What do you guys think of the Niners picking up Zadarius Smith and Trey Flowers? Would that be enough to trade down for DK? You guys want to take this one?
I'm not a big fan of Zadarius. What was it, Zadarius Smith?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of his. He's more of your typical 34 outside linebacker. He's a bigger guy. He's similar in one way to Preston Smith in size, but I think Preston Smith has a much higher motor, and his hand play is a lot better. Trey Flowers, I think he's either going to one or two places. It's either Miami or Detroit, and that you could just lock that down right now, in my opinion. So I think we will be addressing with two additions. It's just I don't think it's going to be those two guys.
But okay, but let's stick with the hypothetical. If we got them, if we did, would that be enough for you to be like, all right, we can trade down and take a wide receiver instead of an edge guy?
No,
because I think Bosa will be better than Zadarius Smith.
and Trey Flowers.
Yeah, and Trey Flowers. But, I mean, definitely Zadarius Smith. He's better than him right now.
What do you think, Nick?
First off, even if I got those two guys, I'm not taking DK Metcalf at 6. I would address a different need. I'm not taking Metcalf. Yes, his numbers were, he was fast and he's big and he's this. I'm just not a fan of Metcalf. I'm really not. His 3-cone was horrible. Just
tripped.
Yeah, he tripped. His even if you go back and watch his route running, it's not stellar. Like, he's a big dude. I I'm not a fan of Metcalf. Like I would take if we traded back, if we got a Zadarius Smith or a Trey Flowers, I would trade back and I'd take like a Devin White, somebody that's going to boost more on your defense. I'm not taking a wide receiver at number 6 or wherever, at number 2. I mean, I'm not taking Metcalf, even taking Metcalf at 2. If you give me a Preston Smith and a Trey Flowers at 2, I'd probably really try to trade the pick, drop down to 6 or 7 or wherever we could get to, and take like a Devin White or somebody like that. I'm not taking a Metcalf.
What's interesting is that, a lot of times when these wide receivers come out of college, we try to look at their route running and things like that. And I say it a lot regarding all and every prospect. These guys are not finished products. We have to remember that. These guys are rookies for a reason, that they can improve. And Metcalf just simply wasn't asked to run intricate routes at Mississippi State. They didn't ask him to do those things. So I wasn't joking, by the way, when I said he slipped. Like there's a video of him running his 3-cone.
Yeah, he slipped in the first cone.
Right. Yeah. So I mean that little slip, you're measuring, hundredths of a second. It's gonna make a bit of a difference. But it's neither here nor there. It's not. I just don't think that it's impossible for guys to improve. And you guys know I've been beating the drum for get me my wide receiver with size. He's got the size. He's got speed. He's a 50-50 catcher. And if he is the top wide receiver in this draft, and we can address the edge with 2 guys, Zadarius Smith and Trey Flowers. I wish it wasn't Zadarius. I wish I would feel a little bit more comfortable with someone else, but I wouldn't be opposed to addressing it if we get another edge guy with our second pick at 36. Someone that I hate, for example, Montez Sweat. Like if we got him at 36, I'd feel a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like
you're going to take 2 edge guys in free agency and another edge guy at 2?
No, with our second pick.
That's what I'm saying, in round 2. So you're taking 3 edge guys.
Yeah. Oh, I think the Niners need 3 edge guys no matter what. I think that we need to get 2 in free agency, an older guy, a younger guy that they want to keep around for a while, and another young guy. Absolutely. I absolutely think that. But he was asking, is it enough to trade down? And yes, the edge position has been neglected for so long. We can't afford to just hope that 1 or 2 guys is enough. We need to get guys and be ready to, all right, this guy is good, this guy is good, this guy is good. What happens? We log jam and we trade somebody? Like,
yeah, but his question, there wasn't no trade down. So you're taking Metcalf at number 2 overall?
No, I thought he said trade down.
No, he said, what would it cost you if you got those 2 edge rushers? Would you take DK Metcalf?
He said, would that be enough to trade down for DK?
Oh, so, I didn't hear you say the trade down.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you're trading down, you're acquiring more picks. Yeah, I'm going to use another pick on a Montez Sweat or someone that they like that fell to the second round. You know what I mean? I think I would do that. I think I would do that. Because if we're trading down, we're acquiring more picks. So, yeah, I think I would do that. Let me see what else is in here. All right, but who are they going to replace Pinion with? We did that one already. We need Trent Brown back. We did that one. What's up, fellow 49er faithfuls? All right, this one included a player I don't have a lot of familiarity with, so I won't answer. But if you guys do, you can. It says, what do you think about this 3-round mock? Bosa or Allen in the first, whoever's available. Deebo Samuels in the second, and Michael Jackson in the third. He's a linebacker, or maybe a linebacker.
From Miami?
I don't know. It didn't say. I don't know who the third person is.
Miami. More of a developmental pass rusher guy that's worth taking in the 3rd round. But it's one of those, like, maybe a street type picks where more of a pass rusher only. Even though he's not coming off a major injury, he's still a mid-round guy. I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on him, But that's really if we don't address edge and free agency or at the top of the draft. And I don't see both being the case. But I would like Michael Jackson as an ad. It's just, I still think.
Oh, shit. Hold on. I don't mean to cut you guys off, but Antonio Brown is going to Buffalo.
Wow.
It's not Friday. Oh, shit. No, it's not Friday yet.
Steelers are trading Antonio Brown to the Bills.
For what?
It just says they were closing on a deal, and then it just came out and said that they're sending him to Buffalo. Didn't somebody say that the other day? Like, watch him go to Buffalo.
That was Ian Rappaport too, so I would believe that.
Yeah, it was from Rap. Yeah.
Thank God. I'm glad that's over.
Oh, it's not over. It's not over. Because now you're going to get the 49er fans crying, why didn't John Lynch do it? When they hear that they got him for a third, oh, my God. Shit's going to hit the fans. 49er fans are going to be, what the hell is John Lynch doing? Just wait for it. You watch. Just wait for it.
That's crazy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut Anthony off there. I just.
Oh, you cut him off. You hurt his feelings, and he left. Oh, there he is.
Okay, that's crazy. So, I actually kind of want to jump on that real quick now. Now that Antonio Brown is, quote, confirmed gone, I want to ask you guys, does the market increase to make a move for a guy like Odell Beckham? Do you guys believe any of that kind of smoke with Odell? And if so, would you follow it? With Brown gone now, is OBJ your number one option? Would you guys go for it?
Your audio is going in and out. I'm having a hard time hearing you. You said that with OBJ gone, do we make a move for OBJ now? With OBJ gone?
Brown gone.
With Brown gone, do you guys make a move for OBJ?
I think that the Niners should be trying to make that move no matter what anyway. Regardless of Brown. It seemed like we were never interested in Brown. Brown was interested in the Niners, not the other way around. It was not a mutual it wasn't a mutual infatuation. I think that the Niners should be trying to make a move for Odell Beckham if and only if the Giants are willing to swap first-round picks. If this is just you want our player, what pick are you going to give us to get him? Then no, absolutely not. If it's we want something from you, which is the number 2 pick, you want our player, let's work out a package, then I'm in. Then and only then. But I'm not doing here's 36 for OBJ. I'm not doing that.
Would you do a 1 next year?
Let me think on that. Somebody else go. Let me think on that. That's a good question.
I honestly think Pittsburgh just shoved it right up his butt, sending him to the Buffalo. I really do. And I honestly feel bad for that kid, the quarterback in Buffalo.
Josh Allen?
Yeah. He is going to torment him. He really is. Because, I think we can all agree. He took the league by storm when he started running for touchdown and getting 100 yards rushing the game. I'm not questioning his arm talent, but is he there at the level of a Ben Roethlisberger type arm? No.
He's got a bigger arm than Roethlisberger, I think.
No, I'm talking about like accuracy, like stuff like that. He's got a strong arm, yeah, but he's not fully developed as an NFL passer yet. And if he walks away with like a game with 2 catches for like 20 yards, man, whew.
So I don't think. All right, here's a couple of things, right? I honestly think that something happened behind closed doors that set Antonio Brown off. And I don't want to personally talk on this too much because it's literally nothing that the Niners can do about him. So we're talking about a random player now. But I think something set him off specifically with and towards Ben Roethlisberger. And he went on this quest to demand respect. He wasn't going to get that respect, so he started publicly blasting the Steelers. And every time he got the microphone in front of him, he made it a point to say it's about respect. That comment that has been Roethlisberger and 52 kids, that really, really got to him. You know what I mean? And so he made it a point to say, look, I don't need them. they, you know what I mean? Like, they might not need me, but I don't need them either. I'm going to play somewhere, and I'm going to play under my rules. And people took it as, oh, he's on his high horse. No, he means I'm going to play somewhere, and I'm going to be respected. You're not going to treat me just like I'm just some kid, and he's here, and he's flawless. And then when he was in front of the microphones, he's talking about how Roethlisberger was even blaming coaches, throwing players under the bus and things like that. I think it was more about respect. I don't think he's going to do that to Josh Allen, because I don't think Josh Allen's going to be doing those kind of things in Buffalo. I'm not saying he's going to go there and have another, 1,400-yard year and 12 touchdowns or anything like that. But I don't think that the disrespect in the locker room, because we didn't hear about him being a distraction in the locker room. The one thing that we heard about him was the recording that video when the coach was talking. But you never heard about him being a locker room distraction or anything like that. He put his nose down. He worked hard. He didn't miss a lot of games. Like, that's who Antonio Brown was. I think something happened towards the end of the season. The disrespect got to him, and I think he snapped. As a man, you have your boiling point. Every man in here, every man watching, every person watching, they have a point. And I think something happened, and he snapped. So I think not that he's going to be okay in Buffalo. I don't think he's going to give Josh Allen too many problems. And Josh Allen is probably going to benefit from it in the run game, like what Tony was talking about. He was running like that, and who was his best wide receiver? Was it Zay Jones?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? They're not triple teaming him. Antonio Brown's going to get some coverage his way. Allen's going to have bigger lanes to run through now. So, we'll see what happens. It might not do anything for Antonio Brown's numbers, but it'll make Allen better. And I thought about it. Yes, I would trade a first round for OBJ next year.
Well, you're gonna have to.
Well, I mean, listen, it all depends on what the compensation is for this deal that just happened. If they turn around and say they got a third-round pick for him, from Buffalo, sent a third-round pick for Pittsburgh, now you're talking about the compensation for OBJ should stay where we all thought it was. If Buffalo sent their first-round pick for him to Pittsburgh to get him, now you're talking about OBJ's doubling, because now you're factoring the age difference. The contracts are similar. I think OBJ's is 1 more or 2 more years longer, but it all depends off of what the compensation is for this trade.
I just think it's going to cost you more than just a swap. And, I mean, you're going to have to either, probably throw a player in compensation-wise. Like, if you were to go from 2 to 6, there's
and then if you give them a third, you're probably good.
Nah. They're going to laugh at you.
Okay, we'll see.
I'm just saying they're not gonna take they're not just gonna swap you 4 picks and you give up a third.
Okay.
I don't think they will, but whatever.
I was looking at Odell's contract real quick, and just a quick thing to point out. He has an opt-out in 2021. After the 2020 season, he has his own opt-out in 2021.
His or team?
His. Came on his contract. So I want to bring that point up that.
Yeah, then the compensation will be lower.
Then the compensation will be a lot lower. So is it still worth going after a guy like Odell, even if he has his own opt-out?
You can always.
That if it doesn't work out, you want to wait on something like that?
You can always rework his contract too. Once you get him here, you can rework it, and he'll probably be happy because you're going to front load it, just like we did with Jimmy Garoppolo. I was talking to someone earlier. I think it was Tony.
Yeah.
People thought we were nuts for giving him $37 million that first year, and now look, you know what I mean? Like, his cap number's not that bad. It's $22 million. So it's not that bad, and that's what happens. Odell will like that money up front. So, Nick, you got anything else over there cooking up, man?
Yeah. So Zach B said. Someone asked Mike why he's so down on Sweat. I'd like to hear his answer.
So all we heard all week leading up to Senior Bowl was Deebo Samuels was having a great week. Montez Sweat, he was there, right? It was Sweat that was there. the Senior Bowl. Was having a great week. The Niners are loving working with him. Oh, man. So here I am. I'm ready to watch and take notes on these guys. And let me tell you, the best wide receiver on the field that day was McLaurin, not Samuels. And the best pass rusher was someone else, and then someone else, and someone else, and then Sweat. Sweat looked horrible in the Senior Bowl. Now, this is coming from someone who had zero knowledge of him before that game. All I heard about was the praise and everything that he was having in practice. And then when I watched him, he was stiff as a board. He was playing extremely upright the entire time. I didn't see any bend from him. He just did not look good. He didn't look good at all. He was just out there. It seemed like just going through the motions. There's nothing I saw that I liked about him. And I know that a lot of fans are now looking at his 40 time and saying, oh, look how fast. Listen, guys run fast 40s all the time and do nothing in the NFL. That's not enough for me. That's not enough. I need to see you doing something. And I haven't seen him do it.
Well, honestly, Mike, as far as Sweat goes, the Senior Bowl, I mean, it's good. It was great that we were able to be down there for the week as the coaching staff of the South team. But, I mean, if you take a look at his film throughout the season in 2018 at Mississippi State, you see he has the traits and the ability to become a very productive pass rusher at the next level. He demonstrated it during the week. I watched the one-on-ones with the tackles and stuff. But, I mean, as far as the Senior Bowl, the actual game, it's so hard to, like, scout somebody and, like, really watch them off the game because if you notice, they just keep rotating people in and out, receivers, quarterbacks, running backs. They're shuffling the defensive line. I think every other series, they have a new group of players out. It's not an excuse at all, but it's just really hard to evaluate them at the Senior Bowl game. So the real evaluation comes during the week of practice. That's why, like, I was listening to, I think it was Barrows on KMBR. The scouts were gone on Friday. They left. They left and went back to Santa Clara and started prepping everything for the combine. So that just goes to show you Monday through Friday is the real time that they really fully evaluate these players.
So you think I overreacted to what I saw in the Senior Bowl?
Slightly, because I overreacted too when I watched the game because it was a joke.
He was a joke. I'm sorry. He was a walking punchline or running.
That whole game was a joke.
It is. It's like the Pro Bowl. Like, honestly, I thought the East-West Shrine game was more productive than that Senior Bowl. As far as on a competition level. I mean, come on. Kickers were missing freaking field goals. Like, it's just, I don't know. I just think the week of practice is the most important thing in that whole Senior Bowl situation.
Well, on tape, too. I mean, Montez Sweat didn't have a bad year.
No, that's why I said if you go back and watch the 18 film of Mississippi State, you'll see why he's being talked
Or even
about.
the game against Alabama, too.
Yeah, and I mean, what's putting him up there and elevating him now is because he ran a 4.4 40 as a 265-pound defensive end. His three-cone time was good. His shuttle time was good. So right then and there, it's like, okay, now you have to pay attention to this guy. Now this guy's going to climb the board. But then again, think back to 2002 or 2001. No, before that, 1997 when Mike Mamula came out. Everyone thought he was going to be the best pass rusher ever. And that guy was out of Philly in 3 years. So, you have your workout warriors. And he could be one. I don't think he's going to be a flop. I think his film was too productive at the SEC level. He was too productive. And I don't know. I feel he's better than what I just feel he's better than what he showed at the Senior Bowl game. That's just my opinion, though.
I respect it. Anything else, Nick?
You got the text app, right? I don't see anything else in the chat right now.
Were we supposed to be playing a voicemail? No, because this person gave their phone number out in the voicemail, right?
Yeah, it was basically saying what's up and how do you think the Niners would do? Give us a call back. Did you get the ones from Twitter?
No, I didn't look at Twitter. There is one more in here. It says, do you realistically believe the Cardinals are drafting Murray at 1? This is important. This is super pivotal because if you believe that, trading that number 2 pick overall for Odell Beckham Jr. becomes even more valuable. Like
I think they do. I don't agree. I agree with it, but then I don't agree with it. The reason why I don't agree with it is because they invested in a quarterback last year at pick 15. The reason why I agree with it is because that quarterback they invested in, Rosen will not fit in. What's this guy? Cleansburg, whatever the hell his name is.
Kingsbury.
His offensive scheme. Now, it's just like with us when we went through our changes. New coach wants his guy. So if he feels, and which my opinion, I feel he's the best fit for Cleansbury's offense, then you got to make the move. You got to pull the trigger on this guy because if you have a standstill statue in your pocket running that offense, it's not going to work. You got to have some type of escapability and mobility to get out of the pocket. And, with the RPOs today and that Cleansbury's offense calls, and you need that threat. So if they're looking to install that system and stay away from more of a pro-style system, they take him at 1. And that's it. Me personally, I don't know. I wouldn't. I'm not a fan of that RPO shit, that college offense, because honestly, I think that's what's ruining the NFL and why it's making it so damn hard to find a quarterback at this level.
I don't even think Arizona is going to take Kyler Murray. I think somebody's going to trade up and take him. I really wouldn't be surprised to see John Gruden do it.
All right. We'll see.
So West Coast says, thoughts on Eric at nose tackle over DJ?
No.
That shouldn't happen.
Speaking of that, though, what do you guys – it's quick, but what do you guys think of Earl Mitchell being on the trade block?
I think we kind of screwed ourselves with that because we had already came out with a report that we were releasing him. Yeah. And now all of a sudden – or that we weren't picking up his option. Now all of a sudden we're trading him. So I think he's just still going to end up getting released and nobody's going to trade for him because I think we screwed ourselves on that.
Well, what I don't understand is, they came out and said they're moving on from him, they're going to release him. Something had to happen for them to say, well, wait, we're trying to trade him now. Maybe someone called with interest. Maybe he could be a part of a package deal. Another odd thing, I know this is off topic, but I was going through Twitter today, and a lot of teams are doing the tenders for the restricted free agents. The Giants gave Corey Coleman a first-round tender. I found that really odd for a guy that barely made, barely did anything on that roster when he was given an opportunity.
Yeah, because what Robbie Anderson got, a second-round tender?
Yeah.
It's just teams being greedy. Look, we took advantage of the tender thingy also. Certain ones, like the salary goes down. You know what I mean? And you also know that these teams aren't going to give up that kind of compensation for the player. These are things that are going to get reworked in this next CBA because players are realizing they're being taken advantage of.
No, I understand it, but do you think that's saying that maybe Odell's going to be dealt? Do you think that's sending we need this guy to come back, so we're going to slap a 1 on him. We can't afford to lose him. Does that mean something is in the works somewhere with Odell?
When Odell went down with that ankle injury, Sterling Shepard really stepped up as wide receiver 1 when Odell was going.
Yeah,
And
Shepard. But not Coleman. For them to give him a 1.
That's even odd in my book too. And these guys, I don't know if it's the Giants thinking that Corey Coleman still has a lot of potential, or if an Odell Beckham thing is in the works. You never know, because to place a first-round tender on a guy like Corey Coleman, who's been an absolute bust, it's just odd. It could be teams being greedy, like Mike said. It happens every year. It happens all the time, even with random guys we probably never really thought about. But to come out with something like that about Corey Coleman and with the whole OBJ rumors thing is very interesting, no doubt. Especially with the Giants' big link to Dwayne Haskins, especially that they had a really good interview with him. If they want to come up to our spot, you really never know. That's definitely an interesting move.
OBJ does not like Shermer. Like, he does not like him. So I really wouldn't be surprised to see if something really comes out. And I'm telling you, if somebody goes and blows the Giants away, he's going. They're going to get rid of him. I really feel that way. Now, what that blowing away is that a swap picks in another first round? Is it a swap picks in a third round? Like, I don't really know. I just know OBJ is the next best receiver that's available or will be available. I mean, it's the same as anybody. I mean, if you go to Houston and you say, hey, I'll give you 2 first-round picks, like say Oakland goes to him right now, I'll give you all my first 3 first-round picks for DeAndre Hopkins. You think they're taking it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt.
Anything will take any player from any team. It's just a matter of what you're going to put together.
Dumbest trade in the history, and I think Hopkins is the best receiver in the league. That would be the dumbest trade ever. That would be the dumbest trade.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, they would really get rid of him. If Oakland went to them and said, hey, I'm going to give you pick 4 and pick 24, they're taking it.
Yeah, but Oakland also has plans. People keep looking at Oakland's – this is something else that's starting to bother me. People keep looking at what Oakland has in the first couple of rounds and saying, oh, Oakland's going to – like any move that you say the Niners are going to do, they say, well, Oakland's going to do it because they have more firepower. Oakland also needs those picks. They traded away Khalil Mack. They have to replace him. They traded away Amari Cooper. They have to replace him. It's not like they just did these things and like, okay, now we can just go after any guy anywhere or whatever. Like they have plans for this draft. They have to use those picks and be productive with them and get something of use out of those picks. They can't just trade them all away willy-nilly.
No, you're 100% right. But if it came down to it, let's say for the services of Beckham, clearly Oakland has the upper hand. Because I know I'm not mortgaging 2 first-round picks back-to-back or 3 first-round picks back-to-back. And just for Odell Beckham, do you know what I'm saying? That leaves us without a first-round pick for 3 years.
Right. So this is the thing. The Raiders aren't going to give 2 first-round picks this year for OBJ either. And here's the reason why. They need edge too bad, and there are still whispers that they don't want Carr, which means they still got to find a quarterback. There's whispers linking them to Murray. People are saying that they really want Murray. And if that's the case, they got to move up to get him. They got to try to get ahead of the team that's supposed to be picking first overall. How do you get ahead of one?
I don't see Murray as a Gruden type quarterback, though.
Hey, I
don't know. He was talking highly he was talking highly about Murray the other day.
And whether I believe it or not, I'm just telling you what's been going around the NFL circles is that people are saying that they're tied to these guys. You have all these picks and everything, but now you're looking for another quarterback, another number 1 wide receiver, and an edge guy. These are players that you are choosing to get rid of. You can't say, I'm going to get rid of Derek Carr and we'll draft our quarterback next year, not this year. Are you? The fans will tear down the Coliseum that you're playing in and the new stadium being built in Las Vegas. They're not going to let that happen.
Beckham's the farthest thing the Raiders need. They don't need Beckham. And if they do make a trade like that, it would be stupid.
Coach Tim put, Oakland needs a wide receiver and edge rusher. They'll stay at 4 to get their edge and do a trade for a wide receiver like OBJ. It just makes sense.
So there you go. You keep your 4 and you trade your bottom 2. So
Right. But where's the bottom 2?
24 and 27.
Huh?
24 and 27.
Okay. Now, are the Giants going to want 24 or are they going to want 2? We win. We win that trade.
So you would give 2.
The quarterback is always going to.
Whoa, Mike. You would give 2 for OBJ?
If it involved a swap, yes.
Yeah. Oh, no. We're talking no swap.
I'm not giving 2 for. I'm not. I told you guys that the only way I'm trading for Odell Beckham Jr. is if it involves a swap of first round picks and then other compensation underneath it.
What I think Tony's trying to say is that Oakland still has the upper hand because they could literally just give 24 and 27.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Still have the upper hand.
That's what Coach Tim just said.
The Giants wouldn't take that, though. I can't see them taking that. That's the thing.
They wouldn't take 2 first-round picks?
No, the 24 and 27, someone like Beckham, you might as well shoot Gettleman in the foot if they give him those late firsts.
I don't know.
The New York Giants, in my opinion, right now, are a quarterback away from competing in that division. That's all they need.
No, Anthony,
they don't need any more firsts. They need a quarterback.
Listen, this is the logic behind it. You keep your 6, right? Your 6th round pick. Your number 6 overall pick. Okay? You take who you take at that pick. You trade Beckham. Now you got 24, 27. Let's say there's a player that's high on your board that's starting to hit the teens. You package 24, 27 to move up to get your player. Now you have your top 2 players on your board. It doesn't mean you have to stay at 24 and 27. You can use that as ammo to move up to get your next highest player on the board, whatever that need may be. Obviously, it's going to be your wide receiver. They need a wide receiver if you trade Beckham. They need offensive line help.
Bro, I just feel like they need so much to be. They like you said, offensive. Okay, we'll see. We'll have to see. We can dance about the hypotheticals all day. If you guys want to say something else, go ahead because I found a couple of questions on Twitter for Ask NB9ERS from today, so I do want to read those.
Let's hear it.
All right, so the first one, I think we touched on it, but I'll read it. Maybe you guys have a different interpretation. This one was just from an hour ago. The Twitter handle is Mr. Wright, WRIGHT7, Mr. Wright 7. It says, what are your impressions on the defense as a whole going into this season?
Hot take already, it's going to be a top 15 defense.
We were already top 15.
It's going to be confirmed top 15. People, that's the thing you got to understand, Mike, is that so many of our fans overlooked top 15 and only looked at the big plays we gave up.
Oh, okay.
No, talked about how we limited so much. We were the best third and short team on defense, especially in run situations. That's just not lucky. That's great scheming and great play calling by Saleh. The bad part about our defense was the busted coverages. That was the only thing that was bad about it. The rest of it was on the offense being unable to sustain anything. And honestly, you can pin that on Shanahan more so than Saleh.
Ooh. Hey.
Oh, seriously.
I got to save you from yourself, bro.
Hold on. How many times this season have you heard Shanahan is the best moving the chains offense in between the 30s, but struggles in the red zone? Especially if we fail in the red zone. If we go for it on 4th and short, or hell, look at all the turnovers we had last season on offense. Look at all the bad situations our offense put us in for defense. I wouldn't be surprised if our defense was on the field so much more than offense. That's the thing. Saleh gets no credit whatsoever. It's not the scheme. It was the few busted coverages that made this team look bad. I see that tightening up and getting so much better with Woods and Kosierk and whatever we add in the draft of free agency. That's the thing. That's why I say I'm confirming this team is top 15 on defense, maybe even top 10. But the hate for Saleh needs to be looked at more closely because it's not him. It's not all on him. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Who was it that dropped Cassius Morse and Solomon Thomas in coverage on the same play? Saleh. Listen, Saleh had a rough start in the beginning of the season. First of all, you can't pin this on Shanahan. That team suffered injuries. Like there's no, starting quarterback, starting tailback, your top wide receiver gone. You're playing with an undrafted free agent. I think a one-time a 5th-round pick or a 6th-round pick in Goodwin. You had Pettis, who was banged up in the beginning of the season. So the only guy that was there consistently was Kittle. And
You can make that case about the defense, though, too. That's the thing. Saleh had just as many key injuries on defense than Shanahan did on offense. And look what Saleh was able to do against those offenses he faced. We were so close against Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. That was so close. I couldn't believe our defense matched up that well against a guy like Aaron Rodgers, even if he was playing off.
If you put Jimmy Garoppolo in, they win that game.
Right. That's the thing.
How was it Shanahan's fault?
I'm not saying it's Shanahan's fault. I'm saying that his inability to do anything in the red zone is something that's an issue. It's been an issue. It's even been pointed out that it's been an issue.
I can't put that on Shanahan.
I will say this. I do think that our defense is vastly underrated. We're top 15. I think that with just the presence of one consistent edge guy, this defense goes up from 15 to 10. I think that I'll make a bold prediction here. How's this for a bold prediction? The 49ers will have more interceptions in the first 2 weeks of the season than they had the entire year of this past season. We'll have 3 or more picks in the first 2 games than and as opposed to the 2 that we had all year long. This team is going to make a huge turnaround on defense. And it's like I said, it's going to be hard to believe because we weren't that. I understand what Anthony was saying. You think about some of the busted coverages that resulted in touchdowns early on, especially. You know what I mean? You think about the play where Akella was throwing his hands up, or he was supposed to have coverage. The coaching staff admitted that someone should have been there, but we don't want you showing that emotion out there. Don't start blaming each other in front of the opponent. You know what I mean? That play doesn't happen. All of a sudden, we look a lot better. There were plenty of times where there were touchdowns, and the players turn around like, "Oh, I thought you." You eliminate those. All of a sudden, we look a lot better. So, I get it. I think the defense is going to be top 10 next year, or maybe like at 10. Like right there in the line. And I think that we sustain more drives on offense.
Did you just? Oh no, you didn't see that. I have it. An alert just came up on my phone. It says he calls the reports fake of him being traded to Buffalo. Here we go.
Yeah, he said fake news with an alert thing on the NFL post.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he said fake news. It's like all over the place now. He said he put like AB commented on the NFL post that they put a picture of him going to Buffalo or whatever, and then AB commented said fake news with the siren. Like, nah, dude, that's fake news.
That's funny. Well, we'll see what happens. All right. Nick, did you have anything you wanted to comment on the defense?
I think this defense will be a lot better if we address the safety position, the edge position, and the linebacker position. Other than that, I think we're going to be right kind of where we were at last year. I think to break into the top 10, top 5, we need those positions.
I will say, on what you're saying, though, imagine our defense is the same as it was last year through all the injuries and everything, but our offense is better or can sustain a little bit more drives. Like, not the 3 and outs with Beathard all year long. You know what I mean? Like, what if that happens? Don't you think that the defense naturally improves?
No. I don't think the defense naturally improves because your offense improves, but I think that our offense definitely needs to improve. Our red zone is shit. It's been shit for the last, I don't even know how many years.
I'm just talking about like just getting a couple of first downs on a drive before.
Well, there was probably three to 5 games that we could have won defensively, and there was probably 3 games we could have won offensively. A lot of the games that we lost that were close games was falling on our defense. They just couldn't stop them. We just give up the big play with 2 minutes left. I mean, look at the Chargers game for for sake. The Cardinals game, both Cardinals games.
I can't let you put the Cardinals game on the defense, bro. They wasn't the score like 12 or something like that, or 15?
That was all on CJ Beathard that game.
Yeah, that was that
Not
one.
both of them.
I was sitting in the stands that game. CJ
Not
Beathard
both.
horrible.
Not both games weren't on the offense.
The October 7th game where I was sitting in them stands, CJ Beathard couldn't hit the side of a barn. He was horrible. He was holding on to the ball. The only error they had was the first play of the game where they went deep and Kirk, I think it was Exum. He went right by Exum and they scored a touchdown. Other than that, the defense, they buckled down a little bit and Beathard couldn't do nothing. Guys were wide open, but Beathard couldn't get him the ball.
Okay, but then Rosen won on a game-winning drive.
Yeah, but when you turn the ball over inside the 30-yard line, it's not easy to do. It's not hard to do, Nick.
We lost that. They drove the whole field on that game-winning drive off a kickoff.
No. I don't think so. No. No. So they had a turnover.
One of the Arizona games we lost by
that
then.
Was in Arizona, that game. That was in Arizona.
I'm saying on one of those games we lost because of the defense.
The one I'm talking about where I was in the stands, they turned the ball over with the lead and Arizona went and scored. The Niners had the lead for a minute and then they fumbled or something and then they were like on the 49ers 30 or 40-yard line and they scored.
All right, I just pulled up the box score here, right? So at the end of the third quarter in the second matchup between them on the 28th of October, the end of the third quarter, the score was 12-3. 12-3. The Niners were winning.
Mm-hmm.
They scored 15 points in the fourth quarter.
Which is on what?
Oh, it's on bum-ass Beathard and 14-28 with one touchdown. He sucked, man. You know it. That's why you were on the Nick Mullins train. You know Bosa. You know Beathard sucked.
Oh, I mean, I've known Beathard sucked since last year.
And then we could only get 3 points on we could only get 3 points in the fourth quarter. And we lost that game by 3 points. Yeah, so anyway, but I get your point though. Like if the defense could buckle down a couple of times, I get what you're saying, bro.
Yeah, I'm not putting it all on offense and I'm not putting it all on defense. There were some games that our defense could have closed out a game for us for a win, and there were games where the Niners, every single game the Niners played, they could have been better in the red zone and instead of stalling. I mean, there were plenty of times where we get to the 30 and we just stall.
It never felt like all of last season that both offense and defense were complete. I hardly ever got that feeling last season. Maybe against Green Bay was honestly the only game I could think of, or Seattle maybe.
No, the Raiders game was a complete game.
That's the Raiders though. But I can't overlook that. You're right. But the complete games were far and few between. That's the thing. And like Nick was saying, I know you don't want to, but you have to look at it like the defense could have done so much better in one games where the offense was working and vice versa. And that's the thing that this team has a problem with, is that there's no balance. There's no consistency on both sides of the ball. And whether it's the red zone issues or whether it is stopping big plays, whether it's coverages or not, it's something that needs to be addressed and immediately, especially if this team wants to compete.
I think overall, if we can stay healthy, this defense is just automatically probably going to jump 5 spots. I think the health issues on this young defense, no matter who we bring in, obviously if we bring an edge rusher in, it's going to boost where we're going to be at because it's going to boost the level of the play of defense. But if you were to give me the same starting 11 from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, staying healthy, maybe 1 or 2 guys get hurt throughout the year, which is probably normal. But when you're losing 6 or 7 guys and you lose a Ferrari Foster and you lose, your linebackers are changing constantly or your edge guys are changing, and your secondary, Akello, Mabin, Ward, Reed, like you're going through these guys. If you can give me 9 healthy guys on that defense, I can guarantee you we jump at least 3 spots from 15 to 12.
Yeah. I like
You
that.
know, just because of familiarity with the system, playing every day, building camaraderie, learning more and more every day of what your position is and what your job responsibility is, it'll make your team better. And when you're going in, like I said earlier in the show, when you're dropping, Ward's in today. Oh, then comes in Maben. Oh, we're going to attack Maben. And that's the whole reason we lost that Green Bay game. Was literally they attacked Maben, literally, because of injuries. We could have won that game. It's just I can't put it all on the defense, though, or I'm not going to put it on Salah.
But Beathard had a chance to score and didn't. And that's
Arizona made one good play that first game. Like one that they scored on. The rest was on the defense. We couldn't – we just like – I don't know, man. I think both of them need upgrades, and that's why I was so big about bringing Robbie Gould back, because I am not sold. As much as I love Kyle Shanahan's system, he is good from 20 one end to the 30 the other. And then it just squeezes everything he can do, and he just can't score in the red zone.
All right, so we got two more questions I want to get to, and then I got to bail. This one here is from Tone Boat, also known as Malfair Tony on Twitter. And it is, being that the 49ers roll over a bunch of money every year, how much of their cap money do they realistically have to spend this offseason to meet the league requirements? I've heard rumors that the Niners have to spend a lot of their money this year. What do you guys know about this? So there is a rule that you have to spend, like, over 3 years, you have to spend 85% of your cap space. And the Niners were giving out contracts bigger than what people deserved the last 2 seasons to make those requirements. I think that's why you end up getting guys like Juice paid significantly more than the next guy. Juice is paid like something ridiculous, like 3 times higher than the next fullback. The Malcolm Smith contract is one of those things. Jimmy Garoppolo's contract being loaded the way it was the first year. Those are things that you see happen. I don't have an exact number of what the team has to spend, because you would have to calculate. You'd have to calculate it going backwards. So I don't have an exact number, but I did ask someone this before, and they said it's not as much as you would think. So I think that a normal offseason could be in play here. You guys know anything about that required spending? Is that something that we can look up?
85. You're actually right. 85% is that number. It's roughly the 80 to 85% range that they need to hit. There's only so much they can roll over. And that's a good point, is that you can see why they overpaid for these guys. And look at their contracts now, or in the second year, the third year. Garoppolo's the 10th highest quarterback now, I believe. Only $23 million. It's not that high. Jet's not going to make that much money this year. Juszczyk probably won't make that much. All the guys they really tendered aren't going to make as much as they were the first year. So I could see that if this is the year that Shanahan's, like he said, that they want to make the splashes, this is the year to do it with the cap space they have. Because coming next season, is Buckner the only big name guy that we need to resign? Do you guys have any other
We
ideas?
don't have players worth resigning. Yeah, it's got to be Buckner. Who else?
Right. So if you look at it from that perspective, it's like, since we don't really have too many other guys to address that are key, a lot of the funds can be allocated to free agency this year, which is why I think we will make a big splash, on top of them hopefully re-signing Buckner. So yeah, there's a threshold they have to hit, and shoot, I think they'll beat it in this free agency period alone, or on top of whatever they sign Bosa with too, or whoever their top draft pick is, also is something to consider. Solomon Thomas got a fat contract, and I know he's a rookie and you can't do anything about that, but he doesn't look like he deserves that contract hit.
I'm not going to say it. I agree.
We just got a message on Instagram from Little Brunel. He says, "Do you think we will go after Anthony Barr?"
I don't. Anthony Barr, if he were to come here, would be playing the Sam linebacker position. But Tony's back. Okay, Tony, I know you had some input on this one also. Anthony Barr to the Niners. What do you think of that?
I could see them making an offer. I don't think they're going to get into a bidding war for him. I think because he offers you the opportunity to play two different roles in his defense. He could rush the passer. Minnesota never used him as an edge rusher. They used him strictly as a cover stack line off-ball linebacker, or was he a stack linebacker? But he played more of a linebacker, dropped in coverage. He was very good against the run. He was decent against coverage, nothing crazy, but he gives you the dual role where you could play the Sam or an edge. He was very effective as a blitzer. So I could see them possibly going after him. It all depends on how it lines up, like how the market sets, what the first contract is, and then it kind of sets like the market. Like people are going to be dumping wads of cash on these guys, and like what I think is a fair contract could be off by $20 million. So we'll see how it all plays out.
All right.
I think if we go after a guy like Anthony Barr, that almost indicates that we need to make every push for Bosa. Because Anthony Barr can rush off the edge and he can drop into coverage. He may not be the best, but he can do it more proficiently than anyone else, really, especially Marsh or Thomas. But Anthony Barr, I think, is a realistic option, especially if we want to run more wide 9, where we need to get more athletic, or if we want to run 3-4 concepts, which I think we should do more. Anthony Barr should totally be on the table, but if we do sign him first, or if someone signs a guy like Trey Flowers or Mosley or whoever it is to a big contract, that's going to set the level for how much money a guy like Barr is going to make. So I think it really depends. I don't think the Niners should be frivolous when it comes to something like this. But Barr is one of those 50-50 guys where you have to really, really break down how he's going to fit in the scheme, how is it going to work. And if we do go after Barr, I think that just puts Bosa fully on the table. I don't think Josh Allen or guys like that, if we do trade back for any reason, are really an option as much as Bosa.
All right. Well, I got nothing else over here, guys.
No, I'm good too.
And break this thing up, getting up out of here. Yeah,
man.
All right. Well, guys, we want to thank you all for your participation. Thank you to everybody who called in tonight, all the comments in the chat room. I didn't get a chance to take a peek at them. Nick was on top of that. But people who sent us things on Twitter, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to look at the emails. But
we didn't have any.
No? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I checked the emails. There wasn't anything in there. But we want to thank everybody who contributed to our show tonight. We really, really thank you guys. Listen, guys, I cannot stress this enough. Turn on those notifications, because when free agency starts, the breaking news videos are going to be coming. I don't care where I'm at. I don't care what I'm doing. The breaking news videos are going to be coming, and you are going to miss them if you don't have your notifications set, okay? So subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you get the alerts every time we go live, all right? I am 49ers Mike _NF. The main page is nothing but 9ERS. Both of those are Twitter handles, by the way. Make sure you give us a follow over there. Fellas, tell them your handles. Oh, wait. I can do it. Anthony is Anthony Perry and some numbers like
525.
925.
Okay, Anthony Perry 525 on Twitter.
925.
Oh, 925.
Yeah.
Anthony Perry 925 on Twitter. Nick is 49er Faithful 365, no S, and Tony is NJ9er Fan 499. Give everybody a follow. We love to interact with you guys, and we love to do these shows. Thank you all so much for checking us out. I'm ready to get up out of here. Prepare for glory.
Anticipate pain.
But always remain faithful. Yeah.
Out.